This is going to be the most basic of marker tutorials, and it's taken from one of my favourite books all about sketching. And at the beginning of the book you'll see that there is a double page that's got some 2D images that have been rendered using markers, and there's some exercises at the bottom that you can copy so that you know where to apply marker. I've got 4 shapes and we're going to draw along now. You need to produce these 4 shapes just on some A4 paper, and then you'll be able to have the same starting point as I do for the video that follows. So you've just seen a still image of the 4 simple shapes I've gone and drawn. I've drawn them just with a really fine pen, 0.05, and then after that I'm just going to use a C3 marker, cool grey, and maybe a Papermate Flare, slightly thicken up some of the lines. So from the book, which is a great starting point for learning how to use markers, I'm going to just use 4 of the shapes from the exercise that's at the beginning of the book. If you follow these principles, eventually you'll know where to apply a marker and how much marker to apply on the shapes that you produce. Quite often people find it difficult to draw a 3D shape, but to draw a 2D shape and render it to look 3D is my advice as a way to start. And then just start with 1 marker. You don't need to spend a fortune on buying a lot. I just think maybe a couple of the cool grey series is a good way to start. So to begin with, I've got a rectangular shape. You'll notice I always turn my page, even when I'm drawing, the page is this way up, but I always turn it like that when I'm producing the line work. So I'm going to start off just with 1 line, just slightly off centre. Okay, and it only takes a minute to do each one. I'm going to start in the middle of the space I've got left. And then work backwards. And then just tidy up the top edge. Okay, so that's nearly done. I'm just going to wait a second, and I'm just going to start at the back and just push forward a little bit just to remove some of the lines, but to make it darker at this side than as we move to the centre. And I always assume that the sun is moving, well, shining over my left shoulder. So I'm going to go again at the back now. It's important to work quickly and in straight lines. Okay, and that's that one done. Next one, we've got a cylinder with a cylinder out at the bottom and one coming out of the side, using exactly the same principle as what I did up here. I'm going to do 1 straight line just off centre, and then start here at the back, and then push forward, leaving a small gap, and start again. Okay, I'm just going to put a slight curve here because it's a rounded surface, and then drag along with the thinner part of the marker nib, and I'm just going to go back over this bit again. Whenever you get a shadow on a curved surface, the shadow is always curved as well. So with that in mind, I'm going to drop down, curve up, okay, that'll do for that one. The next shape, so we've got it's a cylinder with the top and bottom that are conical, and to start with I'm going to do my off centre line, just like that, exactly the same as the other 2. Start at the back again, and then up to the top, so for me this is exactly the same principle, where I've done a line, left a highlight, faded back. Same here, done a line, left a gap, and then just want to thicken up the marker ink at the back. down at the bottom. This is, because this is at the bottom, I think it's going to be slightly darker than the amount of light fall at the top. So I'm going to have the shadow just come in slightly over. And then by keeping a wet edge, you can remove some of the streaks you might have. Okay, and then the last shape, this I suppose is similar to the small little yellow toy that you get inside a Kinder egg. So just here at the centre, I'm just going to draw a line coming down, one just off centre, and because it's curved and drops around this side, I'm going to push my mark around here like this, and then same at the bottom. These shapes are really quite small. Normally the bigger the better. With a marker drawing you'll get less streaks if you marker over a bigger area than a small area. Okay, just like that. And then just to finish up, I'm just going to get my thicker pen. I'm just going to thicken up just a couple of the lines. So let's go along here. Right, and I'm going to leave it at that. So I'll produce another video as quick as I can, and I'll go through a few more of the exercises, and then eventually we'll get on to drawing some 2D shapes but render them to look like they are 3D. Thank you very much.